Hi guys, we're going to finish up our flip book by taking care of the last two tabs, which is addressing standard form first, and then we're going to talk about parallel and perpendicular lines. Now, what they're showing you at the title here, let me get this. This is our example, or what standard form is. There's a couple things you need to know that have to exist for it to be in standard form. The first one is, I'm just going to put a little note here. There are no fractions when dealing with standard form, so you have to get rid of the fractions. Another thing is there is no negative, no negative lead term. I'm sorry. When we're talking about the lead term, we're talking about this first AX, the first term. And the X term always comes first. And then the other thing is, kind of summarize what standard form is that your variables are on the left side of the equal sign and constants on the right. Sorry, I'm going to change my font here. So variables on left side and constants, which is your numbers, on the right side. I'm just going to do RT for right. Okay, so we're going to do some examples of that with 13 and 14. Now, and I'll give you some steps here. So, like, to change this into fraction, to standard form, excuse me, because I see a fraction here with just 2/3, and let me fix this. Okay, oh, actually, no. The first thing we need to do is clear the fraction by multiplying by the denominator. Our denominator is this bottom number here, the 3. So we're going to multiply everything. I was going to change that to green, sorry. We're going to multiply everything by 3, the left and the right side. So when I multiply 3 times the y, that becomes 3y equals 2/3 times 3 gets rid of basically the fraction. So we're just going to have now 2x. So you're left with just the top number, just depending on the fraction. So 2x and then plus 15. Now, after we get rid of that fraction, we have to remember that we have to get the variables on the left side of the constant, and the constant, your numbers on the right. So right now, the only variable that's on the left is the 3y. So we have to move this 2x. When we move it to the other side, we're doing the opposite of the term to eliminate it on the right side. So if this is 2x, positive 2x, we're going to have to do minus 2x on both sides of the equal sign. So we can get rid of the 2x on the right side, and now it has a negative 2x plus 3y equals 15. And the last thing we just got to remember, no negative lead term. Our lead term is always the x term. It's negative 2x. So to get rid of that negative, we're just going to multiply everything by -1. Okay, so this now makes this a positive 2x, makes this a negative 3y, and negative 15. So you just end up changing the sign to each term. And there is our standard form. So for 14 here, we're going to first get rid of the fraction. Let me change my color here. By multiplying by this denominator of 4. So we're going to, when we do this, I'm going to do brackets here. Because we have parentheses here, we're only multiplying to outside the parentheses. Outside the parentheses would be this 3/4, the 2, and the y. So this becomes 4y minus 8 equals, we're going to now get rid of the 3/4 and just left with the numerator, which is 3 parentheses, x plus 1. All right, so now to get our variables on the left, constants on the right, we're going to need to go ahead and distribute to get rid of these parentheses. So this becomes 4y minus 8 equals 3x plus 3. And now we're going to get our variables to the left. So we have the 4y, and we have a constant here. So I'm going to kind of do this all in one step. I'm going to minus the 3x to get this 3x to the left, do the opposite. And then I'm also going to end up, and I'm going to do this in a different color, but we are going to, let's go orange. I'm going to add the 8 to now get this constant on the right, okay, because we don't want this -8 on the left. So this will cancel. This is cancel. So when I rewrite this, I'm going to have a -3x plus 4y on the left side of the equal sign, which is what I want. And then I'm just going to add my 3 and 18. I mean 3 and 8, excuse me. So it gives me 11. And then we have to remember we don't want a negative leave turn. So to get rid of that negative leave turn, we're multiplying everything by -1. So that makes that positive 3x minus 4y equals -11. Make sure I get that right. And then, oops, it's 11 here. And so that is our standard form. Just putting it in standard form. So we want the equation to look like ax, which was standard form was the ax plus by equals c. We want it to look like that. Now, for graphing in standard form, there is a faster way if we check our x and y intercept. So, I'm sorry, just go down. For the x and y intercept here, what I have to look is basically plug in 0 for the y and then solve for x. So when I do that, let me just show you what that looks like. I'll do that here. This would be 3x minus 5. Plug in 0 for the y, solve for x. Well, anytime we plug in 0 and multiply anything by 0, 0 times 0 is 0. So this is gone. So you're left with 3x equals 15, which means my x-intercept, so we're just going to divide by 3 on both sides. Our x-intercept, x equals 5. So the x-intercept is the point, and I'm just going to write it over here, 5, comma 0. We're going to graph that point. We're going to use that on the x-axis here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Plot that point to help get to my line. But we need to do not just the x-intercept, we also need to do our y-intercept. So to the y-intercept, we're just going to do the opposite. We're not going to plug in 0 for x and solve for y. So whatever variable you're solving for, the other one has to become 0. So when I do that, I look here, I'm going to now have 3 parentheses 0 minus 5y equals 15. And remember, by plugging in 0, that's gone. So we have negative, watch your sign, negative 5y equals 15, which means my y-intercept is a -3. So that would be the point 0, comma, -3. So now I'm going to plot that point. Okay, so this is on the y-axis here. Go down 1, 2, 3, plot that point. And now we're just putting a line through those points. And we have now, my line's a little off, sorry. Just using this little tool. And we've now, so let me rotate it there. We've now graphed the line to the equation. Okay, so there is a shortcut, which you could do to kind of help you do the x and y intercept. Another way is thinking of it like this. Let me get this little hand. And I'm going to have to make this that lets me. Maybe not. You just take, if I want to find the x-intercept, I want to, let's see, I don't think it's going to let me make it a little bit smaller. Let's see. I was trying to make the hand. There it goes. I'm sorry about this. I'm trying to make it smaller. And there it goes. There we go. Sorry. So we're going to basically, if I want to find the x-intercept, I could just cover up the y and then solve the equation for x. So this makes this a new equation, 6x equals -6, which means my x-intercept is -1. So it would be the point -1, comma 0. Then to find the y-intercept, I'm just covering up the x and solving for y. This will become 2y equals -6, which means my y is -3. So this would be the point 0, comma -3. So that's like a little shortcut. If you cover up the other, cover up one variable, solve for the other. So now I can just plot these points. We have 1 at a -1, 0, and 0, -3. 2, 3, and then we have a line going through those points. Okay, make sure I did those right. Cover. Yep. All right. So that takes care of our standard form. All right. So then we have our special types of lines, which are parallel and perpendicular. So the thing with parallel here, we have to remember they have the same slope. The key thing is same slope right here. Sorry. Okay. And to write the equation of parallel lines or perpendicular lines, the first thing you want to do, let's see if it lets me do it. I thought I had it over here, but maybe I don't. Oh, I guess I don't. Is you want to put it in point slope form. So first, we're going to use point slope form. Okay, so point slope form is when we're doing y minus y1, excuse me, equals m parentheses x minus x1. And the reason why I want to use that because it's the easiest form to plug in the parts when I'm giving a point. So we're giving this point right here of x1 and y1 of our -2 and a -1. And then my slope is always, if it's a slope-intercept form, it's the number in front of x. So here my m equals 2. So now to put it in point slope form, all I have to do is plug in these parts into the form. So like the -2, which is my x2, that's going to go here. My -1, which is my y1, would go in front of the equal sign. And then my 2 would go right here where the m is. So when I put this in point slope form, it's going to, I can put it underneath here. It's going to be y minus a -1 equals 2 parentheses x minus a -2. And then we need to simplify this because we're doing minus the negative right here. Okay, that needs to be simplified. I'm just going to come over here to y plus 1 equals 2 parentheses x plus 2. Now, they just said write the equation. So you're fine right here. That is an equation of a line, the line parallel, because it's the same slope and it goes through that point. But if they ask you to put it in slope-intercept form or even into standard form, you're going to need to distribute first. So you have y plus 1 equals 2x plus 4, and then we're going to have to get rid of this constant on the left right here. So we're just going to say minus 1, y equals 2x plus 3, and then that is our slope-intercept form. Okay. Now for perpendicular lines, we have to remember there is a negative reciprocal. So we have to flip and change the sign of the slope. So here is our slope here, the 3, but the perpendicular slope would be -1/3. We're still going to use x1, our point x1 and y1, to plug it into the form. So this would be y minus 7 equals, now we're using this slope, -1/3, parentheses x minus 6. And then if I want to put this in slope-intercept form or standard form, we need to do, okay, so this is fine. But if I want to put it in slope-intercept or standard form, you need to distribute. So this would be y minus 7 equals -1/3 x. And this would be plus 2. Negative times a negative makes that positive. And then we would just need to add the 7. So the slope-intercept form, y equals -1/3 x plus 9. Now, this is my slope-intercept form. And just kind of recap what we did with standard form. To put this in standard form, at first we need to get rid of this fraction by multiplying everything by 3. So this becomes 3y equals -x plus 27. And then we just need to get the x on the other side. So plus x, and this would be x plus 3y equals 27. All right, and there we go. That's our flip book. Thank you.